365-day Bible read. We are almost to 100 days. I can't say it enough. I'm really, really excited. Today from the Old Testament, we're going to be reading Judges chapters 12, 13, and 14. And then we'll do the Bible study for Judges 12, 13, and 14. Um, then we're going to go on over to the New Testament, and we'll finish Luke chapter 9 by reading verse 28 through 56, and then we'll do the Bible study for the entire Luke chapter 9. So we're going to get started because it is late. It's 9:23 Eastern Standard Time. And yes, I'm going to get started. All right. Judges chapter 12. Let me see about these Bible studies. All right. So the Bible study for Judges chapter 12 is 3 questions long. So they're all about 3 to 4 questions long, all the Bible studies for Judges 12, 13, and 14. So yeah, okay, all right. So I was just checking. All right, okay, Judges chapter 12. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll read the chapter, then I'll do the Bible study after, then I'll read the next chapter, do the Bible study after, the next one, Bible study after. Instead of reading all the chapters and doing all the Bible studies after, I'll read each chapter, and after each chapter, I'll do the Bible study, then before going on to the next chapter. So, hello. Okay, so let's get started. From the Old Testament, Judges chapter 12. Jephthah's conflict with Ephraim. The men of Ephraim were called to arms, and they crossed to Zaphon and said to Jephthah, "Why did you cross over to fight against the Ammonites and did not call us to go with you? We will burn your house over you with fire." And Jephthah said to them, "I and my people had a great dispute with the Ammonites, and when I called you, you did not save me from their hand. And when I saw that you would not save me, I took my life in my hand and crossed over against the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into my hand. Why then have you come up to me this day to fight against me?" Then Jephthah gathered all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. And the men of Gilead struck Ephraim, because they said, "You are fugitives of Ephraim, you Gileadites, in the midst of Ephraim and Manasseh." And the Gileadites captured the fords of the Jordan against the Ephraimites. And when any of the fugitives of Ephraim said, "Let me go over," the men of Gilead said to him, "Are you an Ephraimite?" When he said no, they said to him, "Then say Shibboleth." And he said Sibboleth, for he could not pronounce it right. Then they seized him and slaughtered him at the fords of the Jordan. At that time, 42,000 of the Ephraimites fell. Jephthah, Jephthah the Gileadite died and was buried in his city in Gilead. Ibzan, Elon, and Abaddon. After him, Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel. He had 30 sons and 30 daughters. He gave in marriage outside his clan, and 30 daughters he brought in from outside for his sons. And he judged Israel 7 years. Then Ibzan died and was buried at Bethlehem. After him, Elon the Zebulunite judged Israel, and he judged Israel 10 years. Then Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried at Ajalon in the land of Zebulun. After him, Abdon, the son of Hillel the Pirathonite, judged Israel. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons who rode on 70 donkeys, and he judged Israel 8 years. Then Abdon, the son of Hillel the Pirathonite, died and was buried at Pirathon in the land of Ephraim in the hill country of the Amalekites. All right, so that was Judges chapter 12. We are now going to do the Bible study for Judges chapter 12, and then we'll go back and read Judges chapter 13. All right, Judges chapter 12, Bible study. It is 3 questions long. What tribe of Israel came against Jephthah and his men? Ephraim came against Jephthah and his men. Why did they come against Jephthah? He did not call on them for help to fight the Ammonites. What attitude and heart do we see in these people? Pride, haughtiness, and greed. They wanted to show their power and strength, and possibly they sought the plunder of the other nation's wealth. All right, so that was the Bible study for Judges chapter 12. We are now going to read Judges chapter 13, and then we'll do the Bible study for Judges chapter 13. Okay, Judges chapter 13, the birth of Samson. And the people of Israel again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. So the Lord gave them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. There was a certain man of Zorah of the tribe of the Danites, whose name was Manoah. And his wife was barren and had no children. And the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, Behold, you are barren and have not borne children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Therefore, be careful and drink no wine or strong drink, and eat nothing unclean. For, behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. No razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb, and he shall begin to save Israel from the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, A man of God came to me, and this appearance was like the appearance of the angel of God, very awesome. I did not ask him where he was from, and he did not tell me his name, but he said to me, Behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. So then drink no wine or strong drink, and eat nothing unclean, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent come again to us and teach us what we are to do with the child who will be born. And God listened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came again to the woman as she sat in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. So the woman ran quickly and told her husband, Behold, the man who came to me the other day has appeared to me. And Manoah arose and went after his wife and came to the man and said to him, Are you the man who spoke to this woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, Now, when your words come true, what is to be the child's manner of life, and what is his mission? And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, Of all that I said to the woman, let her be careful. She may not eat of anything that comes from the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, or eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe. Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, please, let us detain you and prepare a young goat for you. And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, if you detain me, I will not eat of your food. But if you prepare a burnt offering, then offer it to the Lord. For Manoah did not know that he was the angel of the Lord. And Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, what is your name? So that when your words come true, we may honor you. And the angel of the Lord said to him, why do you ask my name, seeing it is wonderful? So Manoah took the young goat with the grain offering and offered it on the rock to the Lord, to the one who works wonders. And Manoah and his wife were watching. And when the flame went up toward heaven from the altar, the angel of the Lord went up in the flame of the altar. Now Manoah and his wife were watching, and they fell on their faces to the ground. The angel of the Lord appeared no more to Manoah and to his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was the angel of the Lord. And Manoah said to his wife, we shall surely die, for we have seen God. But his wife said to him, if the Lord had meant to kill us, he would not have accepted a burnt offering and a grain offering at our hands, or shown us all these things, or now announced to us such things as these. And the woman bore a son and called his name Samson. And the young man grew, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to stir him in Mahanadon, between Zorah and Eshtaol. All right, so that was Judges chapter 13. We're now going to do the Bible study for Judges chapter 13, and then we'll come back to the Old Testament and read Judges chapter 14. Okay, Judges chapter 13 Bible study. It is 4 questions long. What did an angel of the Lord tell Manoah's wife? The wife of Manoah would conceive and bear a son who would deliver Israel out of the Philistines' hands. What was the child of Manoah and his wife to become? The child would be a Nazirite. What could the child not eat or drink? A Nazirite could not eat anything unclean or of the vine from birth until death. This would start from the mother's womb. What did Manoah and his wife name their child? Manoah's child would be named Samson. All right, so that was the Bible study for Judges chapter 13. We are now going to read Judges chapter 14, and then we'll do the Bible study for Judges chapter 14. Judges chapter 14. Samson's marriage. Samson went down to Timnah, and at Timnah he saw one of the daughters of the Philistines. Then he came up and told his father and mother, I saw one of the daughters of the Philistines at Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife. But his father and mother said to him, is there not a woman among the daughters of your relatives or among all our people that you must go to take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? But Samson said to his father, get her for me, for she is right in my eyes. His father and mother did not know that it was from the Lord, for he was seeking an opportunity against the Philistines. At that time, the Philistines ruled over Israel. Then Samson went down with his father and mother to Timnah, And they came to the vineyards of Timnah, and behold, a young lion came toward him roaring. Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and although he had nothing in his hand, he tore the lion in pieces as one tears a young goat. But he did not tell his father or his mother what he had done. Then he went down and talked with the woman, and she was right in Samson's eyes. After some days he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion, and behold, there was a swarm of bees in the body of the lion and honey. He scraped it out into his hands and went on, eating as he went. And he came to his father and mother and gave some to them, and they ate. But he did not tell them that he had scraped the honey from the carcass of the lion. His father went down to the woman, and Samson prepared a feast there, for so the young men used to do. As soon as the people saw him, they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said to them, "Let me now put a riddle to you. If you can tell me what it is within the 7 days of the feast and find it out, then I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. But if you cannot tell me what it is, then you shall give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes." And they said to him, "Put your riddle that we may hear it." And he said to them, "Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. And in 3 days they could not solve the riddle. On the 4th day they said to Samson's wife, 'Entice your husband to tell us what the riddle is, lest we burn you and your father's house with fire. Have you invited us here to impoverish us?' And Samson's wife wept over him and said, 'You only hate me. You do not love me. You have put a riddle to my people, and you have not told me what it is.' And he said to her, 'Behold, I have not told my father nor my mother, and shall I tell you?' She wept before him the 7 days that the feast lasted, and on the 7th day he told her, because she pressed him hard. Then he told the riddle to her people. And the men of the city said to him on the 7th day, before the sun went down, 'What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?' And he said to them, 'If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have found out my riddle.' And the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon and struck down 30 men of the town and took their spoil and gave the garments to those who had told the riddle. In hot anger, he went back to his father's house, and Samson's wife was given to his companion, who had been his best man." All right, so that was Judges chapter 14. We're now going to do the Bible study for Judges chapter 14 before we go on over to the New Testament and finish Luke chapter 9. All right, Judges chapter 14 Bible study. It is 3 questions long. Who did Samson wish to marry? Samson wanted to marry a woman of the Philistines. What did Samson kill with his bare hands? Samson killed a young lion with his bare hands. What was in the carcass later? A swarm of bees and honey was in the carcass of the lion later. All right, so that was the Bible study for Judges chapter 14, and we're now going on over to the New Testament, and we're going to finish Luke chapter 9 that we started yesterday by reading verse 28 through 56, and then we'll do the Bible study for the entire Luke chapter 9, and then we will be done for the day. All right, Luke chapter 9. We are starting where we left off yesterday, verse 28. The Transfiguration. Now, about 8 days after these sayings, he took with him Peter and John and James and went up on the mountain to pray. And as he was praying, the appearance of his face was altered, and his clothing became dazzling white. And behold, 2 men were talking with him, Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory and spoke of his departure, which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem. Now, Peter and those who were with him were heavy with sleep. But when they came fully awake, they saw his glory and the 2 men who stood with him. And as the men were parting from him, Peter said to Jesus, Master, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you and one for Moses and one for Elijah. Not knowing what he said, as he was saying these things, a cloud came and overshadowed them, and they were afraid as they entered the cloud. And a voice came out of the cloud saying, This is my son, my chosen one. Listen to him. And when the voice had spoken, Jesus was found alone. Jesus was found alone. And they kept silent and told no one in those days anything of what they had seen. Jesus heals a boy with an unclean spirit. On the next day, when they had come down from the mountain, a great crowd met him. And behold, a man from the crowd cried out, Teacher, I beg you to look at my son, for he is my only child. And behold, a spirit seizes him, and he suddenly cries out. It convulses him so that he foams at the mouth and shatters him, and will hardly leave him. And I begged your disciples to cast it out, but they could not. Jesus answered, O faithless and twisted generation, how long am I to be with you and bear with you? Bring your son here. While he was coming, the demon threw him to the ground and convulsed him. But Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit and healed the body and gave him back to his father. And all were astonished at the majesty of God. Jesus again foretells his death. But while they were all marveling at everything he was doing, Jesus said to his disciples, Let these words sink into your ears. The Son of Man is about to be delivered into the hands of men. But they did not understand this saying, and it was concealed from them, so that they might not perceive it. And they were afraid to ask him about this saying. Who is the greatest? An argument arose among them as to which of them was the greatest. But Jesus, knowing the reasoning of their hearts, took a child and put him by his side, and said to them, Whoever receives this child in my name receives me. And whoever receives me receives him who sent me. For he who is least among you all is the one who is great. Anyone not against us is for us. John answered, Master, we saw someone casting out demons in your name, and we tried to stop him because he does not follow with us. But Jesus said to him, Do not stop him, for the one who is not against you is for you. A Samaritan village rejects Jesus. When the days drew near for him to be taken up, he set his face to go to Jerusalem, and he sent messengers ahead of him, who went and entered a village of the Samaritans to make preparations for him. But the people did not receive him, because his face was set toward Jerusalem. And when his disciples, James and John, saw it, they said, Lord, do you want us to tell fire to come down from heaven and consume them, but he turned and rebuked them, and they went on to another village. The cost of following Jesus. As they were going along the road, someone said to him, "I will follow you wherever you go." And Jesus said to him, "Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." To another he said, "Follow me." But he said, "Lord, let me first go and bury my father." And Jesus said to him, "Leave the dead to bury their own dead. But as for you, go and proclaim the kingdom of God." Yet another said, "I will follow you, Lord, but let me first say farewell to those at my home." Jesus said to him, "No one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. All right, so that was Luke chapter 9, verse 28 through 56. So we finished what we started yesterday. We're now going to do the Bible study for the entire Luke chapter 9. All right, Luke chapter 9 Bible study. How do you take up your cross daily and follow Jesus? As Jesus did, we must seek and follow the will of God over our own will and resist sin every day. How does one desire to save his life? One who desires his own life puts his will first without regard to the will of God. Who went with Jesus to the mountain? Peter, James, and John went with Jesus to the mountain. What did they see? They saw Jesus talking with Moses and Elijah. What did they hear? They heard the voice of God telling them to listen to his Son. What did this vision symbolize? Moses and Elijah represent the law and the prophets. This was a sign to the disciples of Jesus' leadership and authority over the people. He was the one, the Messiah, to come. It also symbolizes the transition of the old covenant to the new covenant. What miracle did Jesus do the next day after coming down from the mountain? Jesus healed a boy with severe seizures. Why could the disciples not cast out the demon in the boy? The faith of the disciples was weak. They doubted because of the severity of the boy's problem. They needed to pray first. This would involve God and show that healing power comes from him. How would someone not be fit for the kingdom of God? Anyone who looks back and longs for what they gave up will not be committed to the service of God. A Christian must look forward to the kingdom and be committed with his whole heart, not hanging on to the things of the world or regretting what he gave up. All right, so that was the Bible study for Luke chapter 9, and our day is now complete. A quick recap of what we did today. From the Old Testament, we read Judges chapters 12, 13, and 14, and then we did the Bible study for Judges chapters 12, 13, and 14, and then we went on to the New Testament, and we finished Luke chapter 9 by reading verse 28 through 56, and then we did the Bible study for the entire Luke chapter 9. And yes, I love you guys. God loves you. You matter. You are important. You are enough. You are valuable. You are worthy. You are beautiful, and I'm excited for you on this journey. If you've been on this journey for these past 94 days, I know there's great positive change in some area of your life. It's impossible to read the Bible for 94 days and there not be any positive change in your life. So, and I don't even know you, and I know for a fact there's been some positive change in your life within these 94 days. So, I am excited for you on this journey, and I'm excited for me. Like, I've never opened the Bible for almost 100 days, or almost to 100 days. So I'm gonna bake a cake and I'm gonna eat it on live on that day. That's Sunday. So yes, I am very excited, but I've never read the Bible for 94 days straight. So this is like a beautiful thing. This is a big deal. Like, this is a very big deal. So I'm excited for us. So yes, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow for day 95. We're almost to day 100. So we're knocking these days out. So the year will be up before we know it. So, okay, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the night.